Our next guest is an Emmy-nominated actor you know from shows such as Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and movies like Do the Right Thing. He stars in The Mandalorian, which begins its second season October 30th on Disney Plus, with new episodes released each Friday. Please welcome to the show, Giancarlo Esposito. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Seth. I've been dying to be on your show for a long time. I love what you do. Happy to be here with you.
I've been a fan of yours forever and have also been dying to have you. And I know right now you're actually in New Mexico. How is it treating you?
It's treating me very well. I've had a good time during pandemic. I've been able to work from home, start a garden, have a bunch of fresh vegetables just in case the world falls apart. I have something to eat. And it certainly is unpredictable. Right now is a blizzard and it's snowing furiously. How about that? You must have great weather in New York. I'm having a blizzard here in New Mexico.
Well, my wife's from New Mexico, and we go back every year. And I think for people who know the shows like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, that's often their only connection to New Mexico. And I would imagine after, I guess, a decade of working there, people are pretty excited to see you walking around.
They sure are. I happen to have an affinity for New Mexico since the first day I came here. I could feel a higher energy, a higher elevation happening. Also, it's the confluence of, we have Kirkland Air Force Base here, which you of course know, and it's the confluence of science, technology, and spirituality. We have these high mesas where the Indians worship, and we have all these different kind of elemental wind channels that come through here, the biggest ballooning town in the whole world because of the box construction of the mountains. I have found it very peaceful and very filling to be here.
You haven't stayed with my in-laws.
If I wanted to after that.
But I do want to say this. If anyone has ever seen your work and now they're seeing you here, you're obviously, you're full of lightness, you're full of optimism, and yet you are so good at playing villains. Are people surprised when they meet the real Giancarlo?
Who and what is the real Giancarlo? Yes, no, people, look, I've got so many stories about people meeting me on the street and they're afraid to approach me, especially if I have a very stern attitude. And so it's nice to be able to be on your show and reveal who I really am. And some people are disappointed by that. But I have a life being that I enjoy. And if you're disappointed, it's too bad.
Yeah, we have enough villains. I think an extra nice person is you're adding value to the human race. Was it when you found out about the idea of Better Call Saul, which initially I don't think any of us knew Gustavo was going to be in. Was it a cool challenge as an actor to go and play yourself in a prequel, knowing that both you and the audience was aware of the outcome of how that character would end up?
It truly was. I had long conversations with Vince Gilligan about going back, and I thought after Breaking Bad I was absolutely finished with this character. But it was intriguing to me to think of Gustavo Fring, who was more vulnerable, who was years before we met him in Breaking Bad. And the challenge for me was to remind myself that that's who I am. I'm not that Gustavo of old. I'm this new Gustavo who is much younger, much more vibrant, and maybe a little more on edge than the Gustavo that you meet in Breaking Bad. My feeling is they could be bookends. You could watch Better Call Saul first, and then go back and watch Breaking Bad, or watch Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul. And if they fit seamlessly, if you really see the character development and growth, then we've done our job well. So for me, it's been such a fantastic experience to be a part of a show that's not only one of the best shows on television, but that is an investigation of who we are as human beings.
I just love it so much, and I've been so impressed with it. When I first heard what you guys were sort of setting out to do, I thought it was such a high bar, and I just feel like you just exceeded every week. Was it exciting to then also join the Star Wars universe in The Mandalorian? Because obviously that, as big a fan base as Breaking Bad had, this is a bigger one.
It certainly is. I have to pinch myself that I'm a part of this franchise because as a young man, I watched Star Wars and I was taken to a different galaxy, a different place. Yet I acknowledged and recognized that there was some mythological story being told here that I thought had relevance and merit to my life. And so when I got the call from Jon Favreau to do this particular part of a Moff, Gideon, I realized, oh, this was an opportunity. And of course, I couldn't say no. John's a friend. He wrote something really fantastic. But my intrigue and my interest was really piqued because of the relationship between George Lucas and Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was a writer who wrote a number of books, but one is The Hero's Journey. We came to know him through Bill Moyers' show about his mythology. And what I love about it, the simplicity about Mando, is that inside of all of us, we want to be children again. We want to be unjaded, but we want to feel like we are also part of a hero's journey. And so I quickly realized that today in our society that I want to be empowered by you, Seth. I want to be empowered, and I want to empower you as well to stand up and have that hero mentality. So, and understand that life is a journey, and what we learn from it and what we receive from it, if we pass it around in a circle, we're going to develop a different kind of society than we ever thought or ever imagined could exist. So I'm digging this show. I feel like a kid in a candy shop. I mean, look, Seth, I get to wear a cape, man.
You get to wear a cape, and you know, Halloween's coming up, and there's a chance that there's a handful of people out there who are going to dress up like your character, but let's be honest, I think we're going to see a lot of Baby Yodas out there. Is your ego okay with the fact that Baby Yoda is the runaway star of the show?
I have to say, my ego is more than okay with it because I called it. You know, on the set for the first season, after I first saw the child, pop culture, we call him Baby Yoda. On the set, we call that particular child the asset. When I first saw this, I went, this is the star of the show. And I said, Giancarlo, sit back, relax, try to get it. I said to Jon Favreau, I want all my scenes with Baby Yoda. I don't care.
Well, you definitely called it. You were definitely right. It is such a pleasure to meet you and speak with you. Enjoy New Mexico, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Seth. What a pleasure to be here with you.